Hey Albert, it is 10 minutes to 1. You were supposed to be prepping Eric for the meeting.
Baby boy. Calm down. You know I got this. Eric is ready to rock and roll. He is just taking a quick cat nap.
This place gives me the creeps. I hate shelters. When I was homeless I chose to sleep in the streets.
You know there are about 1,000 people in this shelter in D.C. Damn shame. Well, at least the beds are comfortable.
If I were in charge I would set up dome villages and move homeless from street to self-sufficiency. The dome home is the way to concentrate on delivering people from homelessness. Look at you, in this shelter, just that quickly, you've got uncomfortable and complacent. Hell, you look dead.
Chill out, baby boy. The city will see the dome home soon enough. We have to ease them into it as a proactive solution that works with the budget cuts. Dome home is a-coming.
Hey you idiots. We are downstairs waiting for you and seating the people. Wake up, Sheptok. Sheptok, get your butt downstairs, the people are waiting for you. As for you two, you are proof to never send a man to do a woman's job. Let's go look at land for the dome homes. Eric, go handle your business. You must educate the people on the budget cuts.
Now, we all know that, if you want to get folk out of homelessness, you got to get them affordable housing, you got to help them buy a house or something like that, okay? So they're cutting back on the shelters, they're taking down the sidewalk encampments, they're reducing the funding for homelessness prevention, and they're reducing the funding for affordable housing and for home purchase, okay? And so if you got nothing, you got no shelter, you can't have a sidewalk encampment, you don't have any prevention, and you don't have any affordable housing, where do you go? You got to leave the city, right? Okay.
My thinking is, you can't say we was the problem for the deficit anyway. I mean, there's some mismanagement that went on in every department, and I think that when you go, or when we go to the Wilson Building, I think it's Wednesday at 11:30. That should be one of the issues that should be brought out loudly. That if this city's got to take a cut, let this city take the cut, not just the homeless community.
The city is starting to get less of a check and balance system of what's going on in the council and where the money is flowing into the city. Because I'm noticing one of the things that I'm hearing a lot of is the mismanagement parts of where they're going on with the city from the council parts, right?
Yeah.
And the cuts that are being made, that we all are hearing now, are down on the lowest end of the totem pole.
Yeah.
And what I would like to know is, if the feds are supposed to be one of the main sources of how the city's money and budgets are being run, why isn't the check and balance system being more of accountability on the council's part? Because the council, as I keep hearing, when something disappears, you hear about it and then it goes away.
Well, actually, I guess the short answer, first of all, is that as far as mismanagement is concerned, I can't really speak to that, and I don't know about the checks and balances, but what I do know is that DC government gets their own local tax dollars from taxing the DC residents, and that's about $6.3 billion per year. And then they get about $3 billion from the federal government per year. They can't decide what happens with the federal money. The federal money, when it's given to them, it's earmarked for different things, and they can't change that. But of the DC local tax dollars, $6.3 billion, they put $1.5 billion into human services, so about a quarter of the budget. And even though human services makes up 1/4 of the budget, they're taking 2/3 of the cut. So if you want to put it in percentage to make it easier to understand, the human services is about 25% of the DC budget, and they're taking 67% of the cuts. And so it's disproportionate. You should spread the cuts out evenly. But I think what they're trying to tell us is that they don't want us in town, and they think that folk are a bunch of freeloaders, and they don't want to take care of you. But
The whole thing is right now, I'm just thinking about it. I'm really tired of going back and forth with these hearings, with these meetings. You know what I'm saying? Trying to focus on these shelters, these Stoneberry shelters, and us being in these shelters. When all the time we really need to be trying to focus in on how we gonna get some jobs and how we gonna get some housing. because if you go down to Martin King Library, they got a display down there right now. You know, they got the same signs that we was marching for in the 60s. You know, they got the history of the city. If any of y'all that haven't been down there, y'all really need to go down there. I mean, because it's really just waking you up to see the same thing that we was out here fighting for 20 or 30 years ago. It's like the same thing going all over again.
Yeah.
And so, I mean, the bottom line is, you know what I'm saying, we need jobs and we need housing. You know, and so, I mean,
And when you get that, you need a living wage.
well, I
You
mean,
need living wage, you need affordable housing.
I'm just saying,
Okay,
one
one at a time. Okay, Robert first, go ahead.
You know what I'm saying, we did a lot of work in this city about trying to formulate a process to help people in their homelessness.
Okay.
You know what I'm saying? And this process that we worked on was just thrown to the side when the new mayor came into office with these budget cuts, which I feel as though, you know, they act like they're Republicans. That is not a Democratic city, but a Republican city. So I mean, you know, man, we can keep on going on and on about these shelters. When, you know what I'm saying? The shelters is really not the answer for me any longer.
Yeah.
I mean, people need shelter, yes.
Yeah.
But, you know, at the end of the day, you know, we need jobs and people who can't work need some type of affordable housing. And so, you know, we gotta stick together, man.
Okay, I'm glad you said that, but what I want to say in response to that is first of all, I see you here, but first of all, you know, they got what's called a DINO, this Democrat in name only. You know, and then the other thing I would point out is that, like I've been telling people, I heard from Fred Swan during the ICH meeting, they spend $12 million on the family shelter every year. The family shelter only holds 150 families. So if you do the math, they're spending $80,000 per family per year to keep them in the family shelter. You don't pay that much for rent in DC. I mean, you might pay $2,000 a month for some places in DC. That's $24,000 a year. Why would you pay $80,000 per family per year to keep them in a family shelter? You may as well house 500 families rather than sheltering 150, because it's a lot more cost effective. I mean, you could actually house 250 families and still save half the money. You know, okay, hold it.
Talk about the regulations, though. Let them know about the regulations.
About the regulations.
The regulations are, they set the regulations so high that people can't move into houses. If you have children and you get a one-bedroom apartment, move out of the shelter and only pay $900 a month, the law says you got to have separate rooms with your children, if they're male or female. So that means they got to get a 3-bedroom apartment, and that goes to rent. So a lot of people are not moving out of women's shelter because they're on TANF, and they can't find a job. Then at the end of the year, they got to pay market value for their apartment. If the apartment's $1,000 a month, they have to take over the payment before they go back to the streets.
Okay.
So we have
Nationally, there's the HUD issue. Now, the federal government is talking about cutting $5.3 billion with the B from HUD. And there's this fear that we might lose 750,000 units, HUD units across the country. That's 750,000 HUD units. Now that's about 2 million people, because you got families living in HUD, you know. So they're talking about cutting 750,000 HUD units across the country, and DC has over 11,000 HUD vouchers citywide. And DC might lose 5,000 or almost half of their HUD vouchers. And then, okay, go ahead.
Can you just clarify that, please, Bill?
Okay. What is it?
Can you clarify, when you say DC has 11,000 HUD vouchers right now,
Yeah.
and you say they might lose 5,000 HUD vouchers,
Yeah.
are you saying that the existing vouchers or the new
No.
vouchers that's supposed
No,
to be
the
on the
system.
table
The
for
system.
people coming in?
No, the system.
What? Wait, I don't understand your question. What's your question?
Okay,
My
I
question
have the
is,
same
are you said HUD has 11,000 vouchers.
Yeah.
So you saying there's 11,000 people in the district right now that's on vouchers, in housing on vouchers, right?
Not
Is that what you said?
11,000 people, 11,000 units. You might have 2 or 3 people per unit. So 11,000 HUD vouchers might actually house 25,000 people.
Okay, so the only point I'm trying to make, you said there's 11,000 vouchers.
Yeah.
So you saying the existing vouchers that people already
Yeah.
under, the city may lose 5,000 of those vouchers?
No, okay, hold up. Now, when I say 11,000 vouchers, I mean, some are being used, and some are not being used because they're being turned over because people die or people do better and they move on or whatever, you know, and so you got some vouchers that are being turned over to other people, and you got some that are being used, but what they're going to do though is when someone moves out of a HUD unit for whatever reason, or they get old and die, then their HUD voucher is going to be destroyed and not given to anybody else. And so they're going to decrease it in that way first, and then they're also going to put some people that are in the HUD housing out of the HUD housing. You know, if we're lucky, all that's going to happen is that the folk who either die or move on, you know. Okay.
Okay, hold on. So the vouchers, right? Tomorrow, the hearing that we're having tomorrow at Department of Human Service, I mean, not
Yeah.
Department of Human Service, but the housing hearing we have tomorrow at the Wilson Building.
Yeah.
That hearing will be dealing with them vouchers, right?
Yes, it will. Yes, it will.
He is
Yes, it
the
will.
chairman, he is
Yes,
the
yes, it
chairperson
will.
of the Department of Housing and Workforce Development, right? Brown, right?
Brown? Yes.
Okay, so that hearing tomorrow is actually gonna be touched on the vouchers, right?
Right. Yes, it will.
Okay, I'm just trying to get
Yes, yes, it
clarification,
will.
Bill,
Okay.
so we have the right information when
Right.
we go to these
Right.
places.
I'm also looking for some information because last year, the city came through the shelters, Lowberry and CC&V, and they were talking about housing first. And everybody was getting a voucher whether they had employment or not. And then, you know, the vouchers, they used all the slots up.
Yeah.
And it's my understanding that was money given to the district to spend from the federal government.
Yeah.
Okay, now they're making these cuts. The people that are already in housing first, how much of an impact does it affect them? Because if it affects
Okay.
them just as much as it affects us, they will be looking for shelter.
Okay, let me answer that, let me answer that, 'cause I'm in, if you're already in it, and you got a job, then they're gonna tell you that you gotta pay 1/3 of your income to stay in that building. If you get on Social Security disability like I am, I have to pay 1/3 of my income to help stay in that building. They're not gonna just throw you out on the street. Who they will throw out, according to, Friendship House and their program, is the ones who are just in there not trying to make themselves better. They're not looking for a job, they're not looking for Social Security, they're not going to try to get Social Security disability. They're not trying to do anything to help themselves. They just want to buy the 2 years out, and then when the 2 years is up, back out of the street they go.
So there is a limit to
Yeah.
how long you are in housing first.
Yeah,
if you
but-
don't better
okay,
yourself.
well,
But you have to be
let me-
willing, you have to be doing something to help yourself. If you're handicapped and you're getting a check, they want you to pay 1/3 of your income. If you're out looking to get a job, you can stay in your house and pay 1/3 of your apartment, and pay 1/3 of your income, and stay in that apartment. They will subsidize you in that apartment. But they say they're not taking no new people on the list. See, that's the problem. They put more condominiums up downtown and less affordable housing in the city. And every time we see them, they're gonna put a condominium up, we should be out there picking them.
Okay, well, actually, well, two things. Well, okay, first of all, I see Marta came in, so I want to call Marta up here. We got an empty chair for her because she's got a lot of facts for us. And the other thing I want to do is because we're kind of talking over folks' heads, so I think we have to kind of inform them of what we're talking about here. Okay, so for those who don't know, there's a program called Permanent Supportive Housing, and some call it Housing First. And Mayor Fenty began that. I mean, for all his vices, you know, Mayor Fenty did begin the Housing First program, so I got to give him props, you know, where it's due. So anyway, He began Housing First in September of 2008 in order to justify closing rental school shelter. And Housing First was aimed at housing the most vulnerable. So what you had was called the Vulnerability Index. So for every condition you have, be it a physical condition or a mental condition, everything you have wrong with you, you get a certain number of points. And whoever gets the most bad points gets housed first. You know, and there have been some issues with how it's been working or not working and so forth and so on. But anyway, what John alluded to when he said you have to start paying 1/3 of your income is that what the city's going to do is they're going to take some of the people that are in the housing first and transfer them over to HUD. And then when they get transferred to HUD, then they're going to have to go by HUD rules, because Housing First is a local DC government program. HUD, of course, is federal. And so DC government has figured out that some of what they do with DC money can actually be done with federal money. And so they're going to shift whatever can be shifted from DC programs over to federal programs.
What we have taken the steps to do in this building since last Monday was to begin the process of organizing this building. Tomorrow, we have scheduled the first step of organizing the nearly 1,000 people in this building. Can we have a show of hands of how many people who are residents here? That's the majority. So most of you should have gotten a flyer that says that tomorrow, May 3rd, from 6 to 7, our representatives will come to the women's floor and explain to the women on 2 South what the problem is and what we have to do. From 7 to 8, we will address the men on 3 South, the 50 and under crowd, and explain to them what the problem is and what we have to do. And then at 8 o'clock, from 8 to 9, we will address the men of the senior citizens on 1 South and explain to them what the problem is and what we have to do. Now, we don't want to put the burden on everybody. Everybody just wants, this is not a 30-second commercial here where you take a pill and the problem goes away in the morning. We have some serious work to do. Not to just continue to be in a shelter for the rest of our life, but to use it while we're here so that we can build our resources and move on to independent life to do for self. That's what we should be using this for.
Tomorrow night, what Shabazz is going to do is encourage, talk to, see who is willing to walk down to 13th Street from here to be involved in these events. Wednesday, we need every homeless person in the city for the walk around to the city council. That's at 11:30. Thursday, we can do the call in and the email thing from right out of our computer room. Friday is the budget hearing about should there be cuts. If there should be cuts, or if there shouldn't be cuts, you can call in to even sign up to testify, because of the oversight committee that does human services will probably be there listening and want to hear your comments on.
Talk there, tell them why the whole city council should not vote for this garbage to go through.
Okay.
And once that happens, then it goes from there as they discuss it. And like it's already said, if 9 people pass it, we're in trouble.
Yeah,
But then it goes to the mayor's desk. Then from the mayor's desk, it goes up to Congress.
Okay, but John, we're getting that clarification though. We're talking about 2 different types of hearings, though. I mean, there's. Let me tell you. There on May 6th is a hearing where you're going to sit in front of the council member and you're going to talk for anywhere between 3 and 5 minutes. Yeah, well, three if you're an individual. If you go as an organization, you get 5 minutes. If you know how to work the system, you can get 5 minutes. But that said, You know, on the 6th, you're going to be talking to the council members if you go. And furthermore,
And tell him that I need my IDA.
yeah,
It's
and
life and death.
and
You talking to the guy that can make the decision.
even if you didn't sign up for it, at the end of the hearing, they're going to ask, is there anybody else who didn't sign up who wants to speak? And so if you stay to the end, they will give you a chance to speak. But on the 24th, that's committee of the whole meeting, isn't it?
Yeah.
And so during the committee of the whole meeting, it's the council doing the talking. All you can do is sit there and listen to them. You can't say anything. It's going to be the council talking on the 24th. And so you got to understand that there's different types of hearings that they have. So if you want to talk to the council, you go on May 6th. If you want to hear what they're deciding while they talk to each other, you go on May 24th. You know, so it's probably good to go to both. But even so, on that clarification. So anyway, any more comments or questions?
If you go to vote and make a bigger impact, because if they say only 50 people show, 150 people show up on May the 6th, and you don't show up, you're showing up on the 24th, and let people know, I'm watching you, Michael Brown, I'm watching you, Jim Graham, I'm watching you, Tommy Wells,